Family. Again, we're talking about you were never incapable. You just never faced it. You were never incapable. You simply just never faced it. Comment below if you will, please, to begin the conversation, y'all. The courage to grow. The courage to grow. That is the call to action that I really want to present to us as we have this conversation today. I'm hoping that you leave this session with the courage to grow, to expand yourself, to step boldly into the unknown, in the direction that leads you towards that life that brings forth fulfillment, whether it's your purpose, your goals, the vision that you have for your life. We have to have the courage to grow, to step boldly into those places that in some cases, maybe historically, you've been running away from. Maybe historically, you've been neglecting to entertain because you've been intimidated to enter into those spaces. But today, let this be the day that you muster up the courage to grow and live your best life. Family, there's two words that I highly encourage us to remove from our vocabulary. These two words can often blind you of possibilities. They may be the reason why you've been missing out on opportunities. These two words may be hindering you from experiencing progress. And again, stepping boldly into the unknown and reinventing the life that you live. The two words, family, that I highly encourage us to remove from our way of thinking is I can't. I can't. How many times have you told yourself that you can't do something? Tanisha, how many times have you convinced yourself that you couldn't gain access to something? Sam, how many times have you convinced yourself that you weren't able to handle something, an opportunity, right? Or a circumstance that would unfold? In so many cases, we have on replay, I can't do this. I can't do this. And what I've learned to understand, family, is the moment that you make that statement, I can't, what happens psychologically is this. You shut down your mind to all possibilities. Like instantly, you neglect to see opportunities that can literally be right in front of you simply because you're holding on to the belief that I can't do this. And what I have to really come into this conversation and present to us, right? I feel compelled to do this, is to help us understand that it's not that we can't do certain things or handle certain situations or thrive in certain environments or live a certain type of life. That's not the case. But what's often the case is that what's needed is a fundamental shift in the way that we view ourselves. Everybody comment below. Change the way you see yourself. Change the way you see yourself. Because if you constantly see yourself as a person that's not good enough, that's incapable, that's not gifted, that's not talented, that's not skilled, then ultimately this will begin to reflect in the way that you show up. This will begin to reflect in your willingness to raise your hand for new opportunities, your willingness to step in to new spaces and to try new things that may give you access to the life that you've been envisioning, the life that really makes you come alive. So today, I want to break down two questions that we could simply ask ourselves. When we come across this thought that runs through our mind that tries to convince us that we can't do something. Real quick story that helped me really kind of put this mindset or philosophy together, right? Many of you have seen the quest that I produce, right? It's a small business documentary series where we go into spaces of individuals that are entrepreneurs and we highlight their story, really designed to amplify local businesses and to inspire aspiring entrepreneurs and individuals that may have this idea or this concept that they want to take to the marketplace and bring it to life, right? So the documentary series was designed to support those groups of people. So I can recall, y'all, when I initially had the idea, like Sam, the thoughts that were running through my mind instantly, I'm like, okay, the inspiration was there, but In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I can't do this. Like, I really don't have what it takes to pull this thing off. I'm not qualified. I don't have the resources. I've never done it before, right? Like, all of these thoughts are running through my mind. I've never managed a film crew. How can I produce this, right, at a high level, right? I've never done this before. Like, these are thoughts that are running rampant through my mind. And I almost gave in to these thoughts, right? Like, I'm feeling some type of way. I'm hesitating. I'm procrastinating. I'm putting it off because this idea, this big vision, it became more intimidating than it was inspirational. All because I was amplifying the voice in my head, right? And what I learned to understand is this, family. As I've grown and as I've evolved as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as a man, as an individual, I've learned to understand, y'all, that the voice in your head that often tries to tell you that you can't do something, no matter how loud it may seem, no matter how intimidating it may feel, it's important for you to understand that that voice is a liar. Like, I think that's worth repeating. The voice in your head that's telling you right now that you can't do whatever it is that you're aiming to accomplish is a liar. And what we have to learn to understand is the moment that you begin to challenge that voice, that's when you're going to start tapping into your personal power. Like, the best way to battle that inner critic that's trying to convince you that you can't do something is to take action towards the very thing that is trying to convince you that you cannot do. So ultimately, even though I had these voices in my head that was trying to convince me, David, D1, you can't do this. It's not even worth it. You're going to embarrass yourself. You don't have the resources. I did it anyway, y'all. I did it anyway. And something amazing began to happen, right? And this is the beauty of us stepping boldly into the unknown and challenging our fears, confronting our self-doubts. We begin to build this platform where we're serving local businesses. We're shining a spotlight on entrepreneurs, and we're aspiring individuals that have ideas that may be apprehensive to take that step. And this platform was birthed out of me having the willingness to confront my fears, to challenge my doubts, and to put my insecurities in check, and to lead with courage. If you're taking notes, write this down, family. What you fear but never face will always control you. Again, what you fear but never face, it will always control you. It will always manipulate you. It will treat you like a puppet on Sesame Street, right? It will tell you when to move and not to move. It will tell you when to speak and not to speak. But the moment you muster up the courage, right, to do the very thing that you convinced yourself that you couldn't do, there's a special kind of strength that you're going to start tapping into. And what you'll begin to understand is this: you're more capable than what you convinced yourself you were. Like, you have more skills and more capabilities and more talents and more gifts, and you have more knowledge, right, living within you than what you've convinced yourself you currently possess. But for so many of us, we entertain that voice and we become so familiar with that voice that that voice becomes law. That belief that we have that we can't do something, that becomes your way of thinking. It's the story that you tell yourself. And it's important to understand that the story that you tell yourself about yourself carries the greatest influence over your life. But here's the beautiful thing about your story: you're the author of it. You can always change it. And in the same way that me confronting this voice and saying, you know what, you're not going to manipulate who I am. You're not going to dictate what's possible for me in my life. I'm going to do it even if I feel intimidated. I'm going to do it even if I don't understand it. I'm going to do it even if I've never done it before. That's when amazing things can begin to happen in our lives. So here's two things that we could begin to do. In fact, two questions that I encourage us to ask ourselves anytime that thought that you can't do something attempts to creep into your consciousness. It will. I promise you it will. In fact, it may happen for somebody today as you're taking steps towards your goals. You've got objectives that you want to accomplish in your personal life, in your professional life, as a creative, a small business owner, whatever the case may be. There's going to be a moment in time where you're going to be met with the resistance, and that voice tries to convince you you can't do this. When it attempts to creep into your consciousness, ask yourself these two questions. Number one is this: am I assuming that I can't do this simply because I've never done it before? Very simple, right? What we're doing is building awareness around what's happening internally. If we can gain control of our inner world, now we can position ourselves to improve our outer world. So by you asking yourself, am I simply assuming that I can't do this just because I've never done it before? This brings to the forefront of your consciousness that, hey, you can give yourself permission to make mistakes. You can give yourself permission to try new things. Because that's the thing about us as human beings, right? Psychologically, the way that we are built, anytime we attempt to step into the unknown, to step into something that's unfamiliar, to step into uncharted waters, right, or uncharted territory, to step into something that may bring forth some uncertainties, the way that we classify this into our consciousness is, this is uncomfortable. And the way the mind works, one of the rules of our mind, is that you will always reject what is uncomfortable and embrace what brings forth comfort, even if what brings forth comfort can actually be toxic for you in the long run or hinder you from really living your best life. Because it's comfortable, we grow accustomed to it and we seek it, we yearn for it. But we have to understand that that discomfort that we feel when we're stepping into something new is necessary for us to level up. As Frederick Douglass once said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. In the same way, if there is no challenge, there is no growth. So now we must reframe in our mind that, hey, even though this is something that's new, I have to step into it in order for me to evolve and grow and develop to my next level. So by me asking myself, have I just convinced myself that I can't do it simply because I've never done it before? This brings forth the reminder it's necessary for me to step into this, for me to grow and expand and evolve into everything that I can become. That's the first question. Second question is this, and here's the game changer. It's a very powerful question that I ask myself that really positions me to try forth new things. The second question is, in what way do I need to grow in order for me to achieve the task at hand? Very simple, but extremely powerful. Because what this does, instead of being stuck in an unexamined assumption, right? If we had time, we break this down. The unexamined assumption is that I can't do something, right? You're stopping right at that. And many people, that's their stopping point. They say, I can't do it. They never assume, they lead with assumptions and they're not examining those assumptions. So therefore, that thought pattern, that belief becomes their law. But when I ask myself, in what way can I grow, develop, and expand myself in order for me to achieve the task at hand, what this does is it takes your mind and puts it on a pursuit to seek out ways that you can expand, that you can grow, that you can develop to accomplish whatever it is that you're aiming to achieve. This will begin to send you on a search on, hey, what mentors do I need to connect with? What information do I need to acquire? What knowledge base do I need to develop? What skills do I need to hone in on and get better at? It puts your mind on a search on steps that you can now begin to take to accomplish what it is that you're aiming to experience. Instead of, again, being stuck at those unexamined assumptions, now you're putting your mind on a pursuit to figure out what steps can I now take to make progress towards this vision that I have. Family, we've talked about a lot during this conversation. If you don't get anything else out of what we discuss, I want you to take this with you. What you fear but never face is always going to control you. It's always going to manipulate you. But again, there's a special kind of strength that you will start to develop when you start doing the very things that you once convinced yourself that you couldn't do. And that's going to require you to lead with courage, to step into the unknown, to approach the unfamiliar, to lean towards the uncertain, and find out how far you can really go. The call to action as we conclude this broadcast is this. As we exit out of the month of June and enter into the month of July, what have you been telling yourself you can't do? This month, I challenge you to make the commitment to do it. To do it. Ask yourself, have you convinced yourself that you can't do this simply because you've never done it before? And then secondly, in what ways can you grow and develop in order for you to achieve the task at hand? Again, what have you convinced yourself that you can't do, that you can't gain access to, that you can never experience, that you can never produce, that you can never create? What have you told yourself you cannot do? The month of July, let this be the month that you make the executive decision. We're going to find a way to make this happen. How many of us can get on board with that commitment? Put a number 1 in the chat. In fact, put some fist in the comments below to let your boy D1 know, hey, this month, the month of July, I'm making power moves. This month, I'm redefining possibilities. This month, I refuse to be stuck in my fears, my doubts, and allowing my insecurities to rule my world. Today, I'm taking back the pen of my story and writing what it is that I envision. How many of us can make that commitment in the month of July? I'm going to disrupt the status quo. These fears that are trying to hold me back, I'm breaking down the barriers, I'm removing restrictions, and I'm tapping into my personal power and unlocking and unleashing everything that makes me great. I see the fist coming up. Excellent. Let's get it, y'all. So, as we wrap this thing up, family, if I missed your comments, I did miss a bunch of comments. My apologies. Nothing personal. Your boy was just in the zone. But be sure to comment below. If I missed your comment, I want to be sure to shout out everybody that did tap into today's broadcast. And if you did find some value, please, family, share this out with the people that you do care about. Let me put this up on the screen. There we go. Had some technical difficulties with these templates, but nonetheless, there you go. You see the share button right there. Share it on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn, share it on YouTube, and then share it on X. Shout out to everybody that watches this broadcast on X. We don't know who you are. We can't see you. We can't see your comments, but we appreciate you tapping in. And for everybody watching this on YouTube, if you will, please hit the like button. It goes a long way in the algorithm. It will send a notification to YouTube to let them know that this is information and content that people should consume. And that's one way that you can join me on this mission to inspire and empower leaders like yourself. So be sure to hit the like button on YouTube. I would truly appreciate that. And share the link out with at least 3 people that you know that can benefit from this discussion. Write the vision and make it plain. Crystal clear, Mia. I'm right there with you, sis. And family, if we've yet to connect on other platforms, what are we waiting for? Connect with your boy. I'm at #1 Gibson on Instagram as well as Facebook. You can also tap into the YouTube channel. I keep referencing that. But that's youtube.com/David Gibson. And then also on LinkedIn, David Gibson. And you can search me and I'll be able to pop up in the search. I believe it's just David Gibson, but tap in there on that platform. Also, for more information on my speaking and coaching services, be sure to check out the website, elevationIsAmust.com. Again, elevationIsAmust.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the online store to purchase books, ebooks, and resources, all designed to help you level up, master your mindset, and live your best life. And for those that may be interested in contributing financially to our mission, be sure to connect with me. I don't have a Patreon, but be sure to connect with me at what's the app? Cash App at $D1 Gibson. Again, $D1 Gibson. Well, quick question though, family. How many of us are searching for a community of like-minded individuals where you can learn, you can grow, and you can gain access to resources that will help you in your personal and your professional life? Whether you're a business owner, whether you're a creative, whether you're a leader or a professional, in whatever regard you're aiming to level up in, how many of us are looking for a community where ultimately you can find resources and tools that will help you master your mindset in ways to be consistent and disciplined and committed to what it is that you envision for your life? Put some ones up in the comments below in the chats. What I'm doing is this. I'll be relaunching our online program and community and really working out what this is going to look like as it relates to the resources and the discussions that we are going to have. Of course, we're going to be discussing mindset. We're going to be discussing success practices and habits. but also we're going to be talking about small business development, creatives, right? And content creation and things of that nature. Ultimately, helping individuals like you tap into the purpose that you're aiming to step into, right? And the steps that will assist you in doing that. But most importantly, being able to connect with like minded individuals, with individuals that just get it, right? I'm quite sure many of us that may be in this broadcast, you have friends, you have peers, you have people that you're connected with, but in so many ways, they may not truly understand where you are at, right? Your goals are maybe on different paths. Doesn't make that a bad thing at all. It's just that, hey, this group of friends or these people that you're surrounding yourself with, right? They serve a purpose in this area of your life. But it's very important that as you're aiming to level up, again, as a creative, as a small business owner, as an ambitious leader, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, you're connecting with like-minded individuals that are in the trenches with you, that understand emotionally, mentally, psychologically, in some cases spiritually, where you are at. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. If you are interested, type in interested in the comments below. I'll be sure to add you to the list once everything is announced. And also be sure to subscribe to my growth newsletter. Family, if you guys have yet to do so, there's value that I share out every single Sunday. I give out practical strategies and tools and tips to help you master your mindset, lead effectively as you approach each and every single week. But a lot of these things I will be announcing via the newsletter, so be sure to tap in there. But I do check the comments, so if you are interested, type in interested, and I'll be sure to add you to the list. So then when everything is announced, you will stay updated and be ready to join the community when it is live. But nonetheless, family, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up because you got dreams to catch and success to create. So we each got to get busy being great on this amazing Monday. It is the last day of the month of June and soon to be the first day of the month of July. Family, lead with courage this month. As we step into the month of July, let this be the month that you redefine what's possible. You shut that voice in your head down and you step boldly into what makes you come alive. Now, if you find yourself in a challenging season or a difficult experience right now, understand this too shall pass. So don't you make a permanent decision that's based upon a temporary feeling or a temporary circumstance. Stay locked in on what's important to you. Stay locked in on what you value. Keep the main thing the main thing. Keep your vision alive. Remind yourself as to why you started in the first place, and you keep persisting until you succeed. I love that quote from Les Brown where he said, "It ain't over until I win. It ain't finished and it ain't done until I got the victory." That's the mindset that I challenge us to have as we approach the month of July. Family, if nobody else tells you that they love you, remember, your brother from another mother, D1 Gibson, has nothing but love for each and every single one of you. I see the interested comments here in the chat. I'll be sure to send you guys some information soon. But nonetheless, family, have a remarkable Monday. Let's step into this week with power. In fact, be effective, be successful. I want you to be successful in everything that you do. In some cases, that doesn't always mean that you win. In some cases, you just learn and you progress and you grow from mistakes. But let's be successful. Let's continue to live with some passion, be ignited, be excited about the opportunity to live your best life, and most importantly, be powerful in every ounce of that word. Make power moves. Stay empowered in your mind. Let's make a difference in the world that we live in and move closer towards the vision that we have. With that being said, family, we'll be back at it next week, Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I thank each and every single one of you all for tapping into the broadcast. Again, I'm hoping that you found value from this discussion. Have a phenomenal week. Peace.